Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
It's funny how just like an image can capture you sometimes. We do a lot of things here on the Film Buff podcast. We research a lot. We make a lot of lists. Just for example, we have a lot of things happening in our Google Docs. But it's just really like tracking movies, tracking what people are saying, tracking when they're getting released at digital or on home. So, yeah, I was excited. And I guess like the next frontier for the podcast is to run a little bit like previews and trailers or slight introductions from episode to episode about what's coming. So a lot of what I'm talking to you guys about, it formed during my anticipation of Freaky Tales, a movie that I only saw like a couple clips from, like Pedro Pascal sitting at a like New Jersey diner having a conversation. I knew the description. I knew that this was somewhat of an 80s throwback movie, which is a more interesting genre ever since 8mm. 8mm led right into Stranger Things, and now that this is very prevalent. Even Hobo with a Shotgun like falls into this somewhat of a revival of the look, just the look of the era. I was just watching the Stranger Things mall episode. But as we're getting way more regular with 2 drops a day, I want to do more and more with the show. I want the Film Buff podcast to feel like a full-time effort. And I know for many of you, it already does. But again, and here we go. Higher, further, faster. This is the fantastic tagline that they had for the Captain Marvel movie. One of which I tried watching Captain Marvel a lot. Maybe 5 or 6 times. I mean, I think I've tried watching Captain Marvel, making my way through the movie as many times as I tried to convince myself that Avengers Endgame was better than Avengers Infinity War. Why are we talking about Captain Marvel? Today's movie is Freaky Tales. Also has Dominique Theron, aka Ironheart. She looks great. I just like how she's photographed. Everyone's fantastic in this movie, by the way, guys. This is a expertly made movie. It's an anthology, but there's like somewhat of a green essence that binds it all together. Very heavy metal. The glowing green heavy metal, or from the greatest anime movie of all time. But we got 2 filmmakers, Anna Bodine and Ryan Fleck. This is their follow-up to Captain Marvel 2019. My friend and I, when we first saw Captain Marvel, we went to the theater. We were convinced it was going to be a transformative experience. The way that they were introducing a new character between movies, a new character that was going to be a linchpin in the follow-up. And then we kind of saw this like unfulfilled prophecy with the character. The character in all, like the Captain Marvel character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is, I think, pretty cool, pretty substantial, and dare I say, sexy. The costume transformations, some of the hair transformations, the look of the character, in the few times we've seen her, they're there. But the movie just, it never caught on. And when I speak about the unfulfilled prophecy, the Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of has that now. And Captain Marvel started that trend. This is not the fault of Anna Bodine and Ryan Fleck. But this is their follow-up to a $1 billion movie. And arguably, one of the first huge disappointment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And some people can point to Iron Man 3 or 2 or Thor Dark World. That would be Thor number 2. They can point to those movies. But this is the one that had, it was the expectations of it being great and flowing within the narrative. They were at a height. They really were. And then I go through their filmography. And I do want to talk to you guys about Freaky Tales. 2006. Half Nelson. Ryan Gosling. This is a gut-wrenching movie. He's basically a heroin-addicted school teacher. It's also one of his best performances. The 2008 Sugar. Okay, I'm not familiar with 08, but here we go. 2010. It's kind of a funny story. Fantastic. I gotta get on a thread of doing similar movies like this. Only because it would be like an avenue to bring you a good run of some Woody Allen's. It's like you watch. It's kind of a funny story, and there's sometimes you see like other filmmakers in movies. I don't want to say Woody Allen is the inspiration for this movie, but it's there though. I just think the inner group banter sometimes, to me, it's always Woody Allen. 2015. Here we go. Ryan Reynolds. Mississippi Grind. This is one of the best gambling movies that we have. And we've had quite a few. The latest, Card Counter or Counting Cards with Walter Isaacson. No, that's the author. Not Isaac Hayes. Moon Knight. Just whoever played Moon Knight in Apocalypse, Poe Dameron, Isaacson. What's his name? But either way, you guys know who I'm talking. Mississippi Grind, fantastic movie. So leading into Captain Marvel, these two had, I haven't seen Sugar, but let's just say 4 character-driven, insightful movies. And Mississippi Grind is just heartbreaking at one point. And then we have Captain Marvel. So a lot of times, people, they play dumb. They're like, where do the filmmakers come from? Why did Marvel pick these two for Captain Marvel? What the F? But we see character-driven, singular character-driven, dramedies or dramas. Let's just call it what it is, drama. It seems to be a good fit. It seems to be it's not square peg round hole. So you make $1 billion movie. This is the dream. But again, they live within Hollywood, right? I mean, they got an agency. They have an agency that works with them to reach out to actors and other agents, because they get the cast for Half Nelson. They get the cast for It's Kind of a Funny Story. They get an incredible cast for Mississippi Grind. We can kind of say, the casts are built on top of the previous success. So, now your movies get a little bit bigger and bigger. That's a film career. So you get your big shot. And this is the follow-up. And it is funny. We got MCUers. Now, MCU is so big, you can kind of throw a rock and hit a movie. I was recently watching, I forget, one of the YouTubers, and somewhat of an observation. They were saying that Weapons is the only original movie to come out, and in a way, and they mean it's not an adaptation or a sequel. But Freaky Tales pretty much came and went. No one talks about this movie. It came out in 2024. But it didn't do well. It's got three pieces. Strength in Numbers, The Gilman Strikes Back, Don't Fight the Feeling, Born to Mac. That's Pedro Pascal's. I'm sorry. I meant 4 segments. And The Legend of Sleepy Floyd. I think this is a visually stunning movie. I think the cast is just there. You know, like sometimes. I'm really liking Paul Benjamin Mander's son. He played some of the Skrulls, right? He's a Skrull, or he's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in Captain Marvel. They recycled some of their, like, you know, previous, like, again, like they have a cast of, you know, people that they work with. This is not a Pedro Pascal movie. He's in the segment, but it's not. He's kind of like thrown in one of the middle segments. But this movie is highly visual. It's shot insanely well, and it's goofy as F. It's just fun. It's fun. Now, here's the truth of this movie. As much as I'm recommending it for the eyeballs and the structure, because I do like anthology movies. I really do. I think the last time we did one was Trick or Treat years ago. I don't bring a lot of them to you guys because it's difficult when there are multiple filmmakers, and it's like, you know, like, who do we focus on, and how do we be fair with the, because yeah, I mean, again, fantasy movies are so tricky. You can have three duds and one standout feature, you know, and it's like, what do you do? Like, do you rate the entire movie? Do you recommend the whole movie just for 12 minutes? I'm sure you guys are following. I hope so. I'm recommending this because I feel like there's artistry here. There's intent. There's a through line. There's, you know, like the over 80s vacation where, you know, like not everyone wore a windbreaker in the 80s. You know, people kind of wore normal clothes, which is what you see in that, a lot of that Stranger Things like mall episode. It's like heightened 80s, but that's really what makes that era so much fun, because there is like this explosive, like, exaggeration of like color and shape. I didn't finish watching this movie, and the reason for that is I believe the political leanings of Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, they come in a little heavy for me, especially with the first segment, Strength in Numbers, The Gilman Strikes Back, where it's like, I get it, like, you want to punch a Yahtzee. I'm not saying the name of the WW2 villains because there's issues with that sometimes. Sometimes she can get censored. So we call them Yahtzees. Now, it's a fantastic fight scene at the end. You know, like the way that they're animating and showing like blood splatter and violence. It's just there, but it's also a weird progressive fantasy. I may return to this movie, but I feel like I spent enough time with it, which was a segment and a half, which is crazy because I was digging Dominique Thorne's like performance, and she has like a friend in. They're almost just like this like salt and pepper dynamic duo, kind of like like the Hardy Boys. But you know, there's I believe it's Naomi is her friend in this. So I'm trying to look it up right now. But this movie though is, I think, for someone that kind of picks up on the undertones, this whole thing might be for you. This could be your bag, baby. But for the film buff, a little too heavy-handed. And now here's the wild thing. You know, I call out a lot of the people that pretty much label everything as woke. I believe woke is a word that's migrated, it's shifted. But where were the people crying that this movie was woke? Or that this movie was progressive, or this movie had political leanings? Like, where are those commentators? And that's kind of where I call BS, because here we watch everything, and I try and give you an honest insight into as much as possible, and I try and spend time with some of these movies for as long as possible. I don't know, AKAPADers, this one's not for me. I would label this movie as progressive leaning, but it is fantastic to look at, and it's got some great performers in it. So maybe one day I'll re-explore, but for now, I think if you're a progressive, go check this movie out. And I think if you're not, well, let's move on to the next.
Okay, that's a wrap.